Beautiful. All right. So if you don't mind, hold your questions till we're done here, but I'm happy to stick around as long as it takes to help you. And welcome. I see Patty's joining us. Welcome, Patty. All right. I'm Steve Rosenbaum. Every Tuesday afternoon, I love to share the sales training here in the Extendly group and on these live webinars. So today, we're going to talk about these magic questions that always land new clients. And as I said, we're going to have some fun today. And because, well, it's fun to land clients, but it's also fun to do business this way. And I want to show you a testimonial that I've had for quite some time, but it really comes out of exactly what we're talking about today. This was Dwight Gelowitz, and Dwight was one of my students years ago. And Dwight was kind of a shy guy. He really had no sales training, didn't particularly like sales. I think his background might have been in the tech industry. And he always told me that he didn't like sales. But one day he got a client that wanted to meet with him. And I remember that his meeting was going to be on a Thursday, and I was talking to him the day before on a Wednesday. And he was telling me all this stuff he was doing to prepare. He was putting together a PowerPoint presentation, a slide deck, and everything else. And I said, you know what? Can I help you out a second? And he said, yeah, would you please? So I said, who initiated this meeting? And he said, they did. They heard me talking about what I do, and they said, hey, we need to speak with you. I said, great. So I'd like you not to come with a presentation. In fact, I only want you to come with a pen and a pad of paper. And then I want you just to ask them the one thing. When you get in the room and you sit down, and after you say hello and you exchange pleasantries, I want you to just say, thanks for having me. Please tell me why I'm here. And then I want you to shut up and say nothing. And that's all he did. And he walked out of there with an $8,500 deal. All right, that's all he did. Now, I tell you that story, it's going to be more evident to you by the time we're done today. But that's the power when you work a meeting the right way, and when you come into these meetings the way I'm going to show you today. This is one result. I can't promise these results, but there it is right there from Dwight. Dwight has gone on to be mega successful. He's been very, very successful since this. That was a beautiful testimonial. So first of all, let's talk about what makes a great question. Questions are so important. Frankly, a great salesman is great at asking questions. And here's what makes good questions. First of all, they're open-ended. They can't be answered with yes or no. You want to get those people talking. Secondly, they will provide you buy-in clues. Now, if you remember if you were here for some of my past training the past few weeks, one of the things that I said in today's environment, where the customer really has the advantage because they can do their research on the internet and things like that. Today, products and services are purchased. They're not sold. All right. So when I say that the best questions will provide buy-in clues, what I'm telling you is they will give you insight into what that prospect is looking for and what they will buy. And if you have what they want, and if you have what they need, they will buy it from you. And by the way, go ahead and answer something in the chat. What's more important? What do you think? What do people buy more what they want or more what they need? It's want. Buying is an emotional decision. They talk themselves into it with logic, but it's an emotional decision. All right. The best questions are going to help you price your services. People ask me all the time, how much do I price my services? Now, one caveat I want to give you is that some of this that I'm talking about today is a little bit more on the higher end. If you're going after higher ticket and more consulting, not necessarily what I've been advising the past few weeks. What I've been advising the past few weeks is start small, get those fast wins. And I still want you to do that. Nonetheless, if you find yourself in a situation like this, these are some of the tips that are going to help you. So great questions will help you know how to price your services. And great questions will set you up to be the only logical decision. They're going to hire you because of the questions that you ask are going to make them realize that you're the person that can help them and get them what they want. Now, let's go on. Let's talk about a few tips, tricks, and strategies. Number one, be confident. I showed you Dwight's picture at the beginning. Did you see his confidence? And he wasn't that way, okay? But even everybody is watching this video, people that are live today, I hope hundreds, I hope thousands of people watch this video in the future. I want you to know something. Even if you're just getting started, even if you're just getting started with high level, even if you're just getting started with Extendly, even if you've never had a client before, guess what? You can still be confident. And you need to be confident. All right. Those prospects are not going to hire you if you're not confident. Now, even if you're just getting started, you can still be confident. And by the way, I'm not saying fake it until you make it. Not at all. It's okay if you want to share with them, hey, you know what? I'm just getting started, but here's some things that have gotten people great results. There's nothing wrong with that. Here's why you can be confident. You are backed by systems, processes, software, people, friends, and more that are having extreme success with the things that we're teaching you. And we're teaching you because we want you to be successful. We're teaching you because we want those businesses ultimately be successful. You're connected to us in communities. You're here right now because we're connected. And you're using, I think, probably the best software platform on the planet. So you can be confident in that. And you're teaching and working with businesses with processes that you know that work. I've been doing this for a long, long time. I told you that earlier. All right. I've had clients and customers and students in more than 150 different countries, all different types of businesses, all sizes, large and small. And guess what? This stuff works across the board. So whether you're listening to me or any of the, dozens or scores or more of experts that you are connected to in the Extendly group, in the GHL group, in the Extendly YouTube, whatever the case is, you are surrounded by experts that know what they're talking about, so you can be confident. And you've got access to us. And we want you to succeed. All right. Now, it's not saying that we're going to give you one-to-one coaching, but I am going to tell you that you could always go into the Extendly community. And if you type a question, I know you're going to get an answer. I try to go in there all the time. I see Bayant in there all the time, and I see other people in there all the time. So be confident because you've got tools, systems, processes, and people on your side to know this works. You don't have to fake it till you make it. This works. You just have to implement it. And guess what? After you implement it once or twice and see the success for yourself, you'll be hooked. And you won't have to fake any confidence. It's just going to be natural because this works. Does that make sense, everybody? And does it give you a little bit of relief? Let me know. I'm going to get a sip of water. I'm hoping that gives you some relief and it makes you feel a little better. Beautiful. All right. So after you ask a question, do you know what you do? You ask a follow-up question. Digging deeper with those follow-up questions gets you even more information. One of the best questions in the world is, why? Look what Heidi beat me to it. Or Heidi, are you asking me why to ask follow-up questions? Heidi typed why in the chat box. Exactly right. All right. Get them to place a value on the results of what you're talking about. All right. Ask them what that means to them. Ask them in dollars what that means to them. Ask them personally what it means to them. Ask what it means to them, to their business, to them personally, to their family. Get them to put a figure on that. Remember earlier I said this is going to help you price your services. Well, if you find out, that what you're doing for somebody could mean a lot of money to them, isn't that a great value to them? Of course it is. And it will help you value. There we go. I just talked about that. What would it mean to them? And then finally, take them on a little path. a little trip into the future as we're talking about things, and you ask them, what would that mean to them? This is something called future pacing. Say, look, let's take a little trip together. Let's take a little walk 6 months in the future right now. You and I were sitting down, we're having a cup of coffee at Starbucks, and now we've got all this stuff in place. And now because of that, you've got the clients coming in and they're paying you $3,000 a month, whatever the case is. And this is happening for you like clockwork. Tell me what's different about your life right now than it was 6 months ago. Put them in that place and ask them. And they'll tell you about the business. Hey, I've been able to hire more people. And because I've been able to hire more people, it's taken more of the stress off of me personally. And because there's less stress on me, my home life is better. These are real people. These are the things affecting them. And you can do that. During COVID, one of my clients came to me and said, I saved his business. I saved his business. I never thought about that. I never came out here to be a hero. But he said to me, because we had these things in place when COVID hit, even though I had to shut my store down, I could continue sending emails. My automations were still working. I had my list. All my competition, they couldn't because they were relying just on retail. I shifted. I made one of those pivots that everybody talked about, but guess what? I could send out an email and let everybody know. And my business kept going. In fact, April and May of 2020 were two of his most profitable months ever, while many businesses were shutting down. Again, this is the power of what we do. We literally can save business. We literally can help people create jobs. We literally can make entrepreneurs happier. That's the power of what we do. So ask them to step into the future and tell you what that looks like to them. Now, finally, let's talk about some rules of negotiation. First of all, he who says the first number loses. All right? So don't do it. I always ask pretty much up front, tell me what your budget is for a project like this. Okay, I want to know. He who talks the most loses. Now remember, I showed you Dwight, and I said to him, basically ask them why you're here because they asked for the meeting, and then shut up. He said they talked for 45 minutes. And when they're done, they said, thanks for a great meeting. We want to hire you, pay you $8,500. Wow. That's what it's all about. They will tell you how to close the deal. When you ask questions and when you listen and when you ask good follow-up questions, they'll tell you. And when I say close the deal, what I mean is they'll tell you what they want to do, what it will take for them to make the purchase. All right, so here we go. Here's the first question. It's kind of what I instructed Dwight. Hey, what is the main reason you wanted to meet with me today? Now, even if you kind of initiated it, you could ask them, hey, you know what? As we were getting ready for our call today, now this could be in person, this could be a Zoom call. Tell me, as we are getting ready to get on the call today, what's going through your mind? What are some of the main reasons that you wanted to meet with me today? Heidi, what do you think my follow-up question is going to be? Why? Ask them the first question, and they're going to tell you whatever they tell you. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Why is that important to you? All right. So notice, open-ended question. That can't be answered with yes or no. Why did you want to meet with me today?
So now we know the caller in the group is ready.
Go ahead. Hey, I'm going to mute everybody here. All right. Excellent. All right. Next question. What's the main thing on your back burner that never gets moved to the front? Put in the chat box, why is this a brilliant question? Doesn't everybody have stuff on the back burner? Don't we all have stuff that's been on the back burner a long time? Oh, I'll get to that, but before I get to that, I got to do this, and this. Well, why is that a brilliant question? What's on the back burner that never gets moved to the front? Because if it's on the back burner, they know they want it. It's stuck in their head. And guess what? If they're not getting to it, remember what I said about you being the only logical choice? You know what? Most people that do what we do, they go in there and they do what's called a show up and throw up. They go in there, they thump their chest and tell people how great they are, whatever it is. I'm great at SEO. I'm great at pay-per-click advertising. I'm great at marketing automation. Well, guess what? These buyers, these prospects, they are constantly getting inundated by people telling them, I'm going to get you new leads. I'm going to get you new this. I'm going to get you new this. Nobody's saying, well, what is it that you've been wanting to get to that you never get to? Remember what I said? You're going to be the only logical solution because you're the only person asking that question and addressing that need right now. So what's a great follow-up to that? What would that mean to you? That future-pacing question. Well, great, that's been in the back burner. Why do you want to do it? And what would that mean to you? In fact, remember what we talked about earlier, the tips, tricks, and strategies. Ask them to put a number on that. Well, I see. So that means that if I helped you do this, you think you might be able to get an extra 5 clients a month? And a typical client for you is a couple $1,000. So that could be worth $10,000 a month to you? Yeah, that's what it means. Right? Now, guess what? If it's worth $10,000 a month to you, would they pay you a couple or $3,000? I think that sounds fair, right? Well, look, if I could do this for you and it's worth $10,000 a month for you, you think about $3,000 might be a fair price for that. Who wouldn't trade $3,000 for $10,000? All right. This is why it's important to put a value on things. And by the way, when we do that, we want them to come up with the value. Lead them through the math exercise. Hey, tell me this, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect. Tell me the average value of your client. Oh, it's a couple $1,000s. Okay, great. And so we've got 5 a month. Hey, what is that? Does anybody remember Columbo, the old detective show, right? Columbo. Help me out a second here. What's 5 times $2,000? Oh, it's $10,000. That's right. So in other words, you're telling me that if we got this going for you, it could be $10,000 for you. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks for helping me understand that. All right. So get them to say to you, do that math, what that figure is. I'm going to show you another cool trick about that in just a couple more slides. How are we doing, folks? Is this what you came here for? Am I sharing some new stuff with you that you hadn't heard before that's going to help you, give you more confidence in having these? All right. Appreciate it, Heidi. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the next one. What's worked well for you in the past? Why is this important? Well, if it's worked well for them in the past, you're probably not going to have many objections. They're going to say, yeah, that's worked well for the past. So I'm going to ask another question. Well, why haven't you done it again? And they're going to tell you why they haven't done it again. You know what? I had a guy who used to do that for me, but he moved away. He took a job. He couldn't do it. Now I don't know who to do it. Guess what? Only logical solution. So what would that mean to you? Hey, we used to make about 15 grand doing that. Fantastic. Well, guess what? I could do that for you. Would you like me to do that for you? Yeah, you could do that for me. Absolutely, I could do that for you. You see the difference here when we're asking great questions versus that show up and throw up and thumping the chest? Which is what most of your competitors do. This is what's going to make you different. What's worked well in the past? Well, why are you doing it anymore? Here's something similar. What did you like most about the last marketing agency that you worked with? Or your favorite marketing agency? Now, why is that a good question? Because if they tell you what they liked most about it, they're going to tell you, again, remember I told you, they will tell you what you need to close the deal. I liked that I met with them every 2 weeks on a quick call, and they just went and did stuff, and that's it. They didn't require a lot of hand-holding, blah, 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 whatever they tell you, okay? Well, guess what? You're going to reframe that. Well, that's great, because I like to work that way too. And I like to just have short meetings with my clients every once in a while. I don't want to pester them. You've got a business to run. You've got important things on your mind. I'll take care of this. I just need to know that I'm on the right track, that I'm doing what you want. That's all the feedback I need. Is that the way you like to do it? That's the way I like to do it. Perfect. I could do that. What do you think my next question is? The slide actually changed there. It's almost the exact same question, but we just changed one word. What did you like least about the last marketing agency? Or a marketing agency that you fired, whatever the case is. What did they do that just drove you nuts? Guess what? They're going to tell you. Why is that important to you? Because I bet you're not going to do the same thing, are you? Of course not. See, with these lines of questioning, what's going through their mind right now? First of all, because you ask the question and then flip it back to them to answer, guess what? They're probably going to do most of the talking. And they like to talk. They think they feel smart when they talk. We all feel like we feel smart when we talk, right? All right. So because of that, they're going to say, man, I had a great meeting. Heidi, William, Nick, they really understood me. Yeah, we did understand you. We asked the right questions and we understand you. And we could be exactly what you want. We are the only logical solution. Now, this one's a little different. This isn't quite a question, but this is actually something you could take a screenshot of this. I used to print this out on a piece of paper and I called it my scorecard. And I would lay it in front of them, give them a pencil. Hey, what I'd like you to do here is let's look at all the places you're spending money on marketing right now. In the first column, I want you to put what you're spending each month on all of these things. Now, is this good information for you? If you know they're spending money in all these places, how does that help you? You're getting an idea what their marketing budget is. You're getting an idea of where they're prioritizing things. All right. Now, here's a little secret that may not surprise many of you. I could probably count on one hand how many business owners and prospects could accurately fill out even the first column. Most of them say, I think I'm spending, $700 here. And I think I'm paying about $1,000 here. They really don't even know. Now let's ask them the next question. How many leads did you get when you spent $500 on social media so that somebody could put pretty pictures on social media? How many leads do you know came in because of that? I would tell you almost every business I ever speak with, they have no idea. They don't know how to track things. Now, guess what? What's built into our processes, high level, everything else is the ability to track things. So if you're doing things the right way, when you post something on social media, you're taking them to some sort of a call to action that you could measure, that you could tag, that you can segment. And now you could say to them, okay, well, guess what? You spent $500 and you got 73 leads from that. That blows business owners away, and they love it because they've never had the data before. They've never been able to measure it before. They're spending thousands of dollars based on gut instinct, and that's what's keeping them up at night. Right? The relief that you can provide them when you say, oh, we can measure this for you. Because now let's fill out the rest. If you can track your leads, now you know how many of them actually went on to purchase and become customers. And now let's talk about lifetime value. Will they come back and buy from you again? How many times? What's the lifetime value of that customer? That's what LTV is in the middle. Now, what's your dollar per lead? What's your dollar per customer? Most businesses can never, ever fill this form out. I gave you one tip at the beginning, and I said, get them to calculate things. I don't think I've been with somebody yet who could figure this out. Then what do you think I ask them? If they say, you know what, I just don't know. What do you think I ask them? Would you like to know? Do you think that you could do a better job and have a higher return on your investment if you knew these answers? Yeah, Patty says, would you like help with that? Exactly right. because we can help them with that. Imagine, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, soon to be customer. Imagine if you knew which of these channels provided you the best value, right? Where you're spending the least amount of money per customer. What would you do? Well, I'd spend more money there and I'd probably stop some of the other stuff. Exactly right. You'd be able to make an intelligent decision. You know what to do if you only had the data, but you don't have the data. This exercise right here closes more deals for me because businesses get that right away. All right, I'm going to wrap things up here with, I think, my favorite question and my favorite follow-up question. Here it is. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your marketing satisfaction? Why is this a great question? First of all, it gives me an idea how about they're feeling with things. So you might say to me, well, Steve, what if somebody says, oh, I'm a 10? Somebody tells me they're a 10. What do you think my response is to them? Why? As high? Okay, sure. I might add a few more words to that. Well, if it's already a 10, 10 out of 10 is perfect. If it's already perfect, what do you need me for? And frankly, I'm okay walking away from that because my chances of success are probably not too good because either he's perfect or she's perfect, or what's worse is they think they're perfect. And frankly, I've learned that those aren't the best clients. The ones that already think they're perfect, they're going to be arguing with me all the time. I'd like to be in a position where I get to pick and choose the people I want to work with. I want to work with successful people that want to be more successful. If you're perfect, you can't be any more successful than perfect. So we're probably not a good fit. Sometimes people come back and they say, man, I'm a 1 or a 2. That's trouble for me too. All of us, because we have this knowledge and we have this desire to help. It's very natural that we see somebody struggling and we want to reach out to them and help them. And you can help them, but they're not going to be good clients for you. I meet people all the time that are just getting started. They don't have the budget, but I help them. How do I help them? Well, I give free webinars. You're on one right now. Free training videos. I got free booklets and content that I've produced. I'll help you. Sure, no problem. I've got some things for that. Okay, but my services, that's for people that pay. That's how I feed my family. That's my product. All right, so you could still help them. In today's world, there are many ways that we could help them without taking up our time. Our time, as you know, is the most valuable asset we have. And the second most valuable one we have are our knowledge, is our knowledge. All right, so on a scale of 1 to 10, you don't want to work with 10s as far as I'm concerned. You can make your own decisions. I find that people that are too low, usually they're in too much trouble. I probably can't help them because they probably can't make the investment it's going to need. I might have trouble collecting from them in the future. I love 6, 7, 8. I love those. Hey, I'm pretty successful, but I know I can be more successful. I know there's stuff on the back burner I need to move to the front burner. I know there's opportunities falling through the cracks because I don't have this finely honed process in place. I know that I'm not maximizing my ROI, my return on investment, because I can't measure what I'm doing. Man, I'm at a 6, I'm at a 7, but if I could measure what I'm doing, that would make it a 10. That would make it a 10. So I just tipped my hand a little bit to the follow-up question. What would make it a 10? You're a 6. What would make it a 10? You're an 8. What would make it a 10? I would just like to know where the money I'm spending is going. I could help you with that. Okay. I feel like we're not doing a good enough job bringing back customers to buy from us again. I could help you with that. I feel like we should be able to automate some of the tedious and redundant stuff. We seem to do a lot of the same stuff over and over and over and over again. I could help you with that. All right, folks, that's all I got for my slide presentation. Let me stop sharing my screen. And if anybody wants to hop on, if anybody's got questions, feedback, let's open it up.
Actually, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you for this great presentation. You give a lot of value in that. Thank you so much.
Very welcome. Thank you.
And yeah, and like my question is like 2 days ago, I had a meeting with a client, and like I don't think that he was interested in the software. Like I told him like the two features only, the missed call text back and the reputation management, and I told the price as $197.
Mhm.
Yeah, but he said that like you are just providing two features and like you're charging too much. And I said that there are not just two features, there are many more features, but if I tell you right now, you'll be overwhelmed and you'll not be able to use the software properly. And like he said that no, I'm not interested, and like you're too expensive, and why would I pay like 197 for such a product, and like it's not even futuristic. He said that. So from that point, like I'm doubting myself that like what happened in that call, and like I don't know about that.
Well, you know what? I'm so glad. And please tell me your name. It's a smart AI here. What's your name?
My name is Lakshay.
Oh, okay. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
You were here last week, right?
Yeah, I was there.
Okay, great. I'm glad you're back, Lakshay. All right. So, couple things. Thanks for opening up about that story. And hopefully I'm going to be able to give you some feedback, because I don't want it to affect your confidence. Okay.
Yeah.
Because when you tell me what you did, and even if you got to go back and watch the replay of this, I want you to think about what I said, and I want you to compare it to what you did. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to find that you took a different path than what I laid out for you today, which is okay. That's exactly why I'm here today, is to help you learn that path. All right. So number one, what he didn't see was the value. He was equating things to features. This is you're going to have a tough time selling anything on features. If you look at my past videos, we've been talking about, I hardly ever talk about the software. I talk about the results. All right. See, if you ask that gentleman some of the questions that I gave you here, what are you trying to accomplish? What have you been trying to do that you're not doing anymore? See, he'll see value in that. I mean, it's worth $197 to me to get something done that keeps me up at night. But it isn't necessarily worth $197 for features, because features can become commodities. You know what commodities are? There's almost no value in them. Let's face it, we can go out and get software for near nothing these days. Now, I think high level is the best, because high level does all these things and it ties it all together. I am not taking anything away from high level. I think high level is the best. But the problem is, these business owners, they really don't know. They really don't know technology. And if they're just talking about these features, they see features all the time advertised on Facebook, for cheap. You have to talk about the value to them, Lakshay. Okay? And now let me say one more thing. Just because you're speaking to somebody does not mean they're a good prospect. All right. Now, I don't know. Do you fish? Are you a fisherman?
No, I'm not a fisherman.
I'm not either. Okay. But here's what I know about fishing. Okay. Here's what I do about fishing. Okay. If I were going to be fishing, I would probably go out and I'd probably find out what kind of bait does a fish like. And I'd probably put that bait on the hook, and I'd probably throw it in the ocean and try to attract a fish. And I might have some success. versus going out in a boat, looking over the side of the boat, looking at a million fish and say, I'm going to catch that one. All right. It's really hard to catch the exact fish that you want to catch when you're fishing. I'm not a fisherman, but I do know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That
So-
definitely makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So just number one, don't lose your confidence, Lakshay. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep practicing. Keep asking yourself, what did I do? How can I make it better? I'm thrilled and honored to be teaching you.
Yeah.
Think about
Yeah.
some of the things that I said here. Try them next time and see how that goes for you. Try asking more questions. Try doing less talking. Try finding exactly what they're looking to accomplish. And then say, by the way, what would that mean to you if I could do that for you?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
Okay. Thank you, my
Yeah,
friend.
and yeah,
Yes.
and I just have a small question.
Mhm.
When I reach out to the prospect, I say that can you take on like some more new clients when I'm doing the cold outreach, for example? So I say this, and after that, they just say that, yeah, we can take on some more work. And after that, I'm not able to convert that into a Zoom meeting or the demo call.
Why are you asking them that question?
Because this question attracts them and this pumps them to reply forward to me.
Okay.
That's the main thing.
You know, I use LinkedIn a lot. I don't know if you do, but I log into LinkedIn and every single day I'm bombarded with people asking me that question. It's a terrible question and it's not honest. As far as I'm concerned, well, put that aside. You want to differentiate yourself from everybody else, but that's a question that a million other people are asking them. It comes off sounding salesy and pitchy. All right. Now, it's okay that you want to sell them something and they probably want to buy something from you. But remember, purchases or goods and services today are purchased. They're not sold. If their first impression of you is, here's somebody that wants to sell me something, they're not going to give you the time of day.
Yeah.
All right. Now, one of the things, this really isn't in the scope of today's call, but I'll tell you that one of the best things you can do instead of approaching people is put yourself in a position where people can approach you. Look at me right now. All right. I'm in a position where they're attending my webinar. They want to hear what I have to say. I'm the teacher at the front of the room. Do you know what happened last week, Lakshay? Got off the call. Somebody reached out to me and said, can I talk to you about doing this for my business? All right. Now,
Okay.
so how do you do that? Where do you do that? Look for opportunities. Look for opportunities where you can share your knowledge. Maybe you just start making some videos and putting them on YouTube. Maybe you start, but put yourself in a position where you look like a trusted advisor instead of a salesman, because people don't want to talk to salesmen.
Yeah. So I have changed my pitch to what can I say? Do you want to grow your business or something like that? Or could you tell me just a good pitch so that I can
Well, I
message that?
got a problem with your word pitch. Who pitches besides a pitcher?
Okay.
Salespeople pitch.
Okay. Yeah.
So your frame, you got to work on your frame of mind, Lakshay. Okay, you got to work on your frame of mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got
Sure.
to you can help these people. You can help these people. You know things they don't know, and they will listen to you. If they think you know something they don't know, they'll listen to you. Keep working at it, my friend. Keep working on it.
Okay.
Charles, you like that, Charles? He says, stop pitching. Exactly. All right. Thank you, Lakshay. More questions, comments, feedback. Oh, come on. All right. Let me check over on Facebook, see if there's any comments or feedback over there. Nothing. I'm here for you, folks. I'm here for you. You can unmute, you can put your hand up, any questions, feedback, whatever the case might be. All right. I'm just looking at the Facebook to see if there's anything in the chat here.
I have feedback.
Yeah, please.
I'm
Who's
so
that?
sorry. I don't know your name because it just says Extendly Coach.
Oh, thank you, Patty. I'm Steve Rosenbaum. Thank you very much.
Okay, I know I saw your name on another. I caught a recording. I just want to let you know I love the immense amount of value that you share here. I've been doing this entrepreneurship for 10 years, and there's stuff in here that I was like, that's so good. That's such a good reminder. But the way you say things so cohesively, I'm not being paid to say any of this, y'all. It's so good. I thoroughly enjoy your stuff. And I actually, I think I tried to connect with you on LinkedIn and you haven't responded, but I'm not taking offense to that. I just want you to know, I just want you to know how valuable it is from somebody who's been around the block and many gurus and stuff. I really appreciate just how smart you take it when it comes to marketing to local businesses. So I'm kind of reinventing myself. So it's just been really helpful to hear your talk. So thank you.
You are so kind. And really, I thank you so much for that. And by the way, my company is called Flawless Follow-Up. I myself have a lot of work to do. So I'll work on responding to you on LinkedIn. I'm sorry about that, Patty.
Personally, no worries. So I had a question. I hope it's okay to ask her because
Sure.
There was something you said on one of the other calls, and it had to do with the right around how do you extend the lifetime value with the customers that you do have, and you have a process for doing that. And so I was on the Facebook watching the recording, and I wasn't on the Zoom with y'all. So you shared, and I don't know what it is. So I know that maybe it has to do with flawless follow-up. So I want to be respectful of the boundaries, but can I get more information?
Are coming down. All right.
Okay.
Band and the Extendly team have actually purchased my company and are actually becoming my partners in Flawless Follow-Up. And the reason why, thousands and thousands of businesses that need help.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can't do it alone, but with a team like Band has built and Extendly has and stuff like that, our goal is to make this, we want to make it available to you so you could roll it out to your clients.
Okay.
We're a few weeks away from a public announcement about it. I don't, sharing with a few people here as products in the next couple of weeks. And they are designed for you to do that. So I hope that helps you.
Yes. And so is there a wait list, short list, or whatever? Because I'm serious. I love your stuff. You connected and bought some cigars for a mentor of mine who taught me.
John Benson?
Yeah, he's a mentor of mine, taught me copywriting. I love John Benson and all he has. So I trust him implicit. Cool.
John's fantastic. And
yes.
And yes, I bought him those cigars because the same reason. I fell in love with what he's doing with the AI copywriting. I mean, I've known he's always been a brilliant copywriter, but what he's doing right now is off the chart. And that's why I bought him those cigars. It so happens that client, the story that I told about the client was my client, the cigar manufacturer.
Oh.
And literally, we took him when he first became my client 13 years ago. Okay. He's been my client for 13 years, pays me every single month. And the reason why is because he makes a lot of money from what I do for him. And he's thrilled. He's the one who told me I saved his business, because when COVID came, he had to shut the store down. People couldn't in the store anymore. But I built him a list. When I met him, he had 600 people on his mailing list. He now has 25,000 people, and they're all cigar smokers on his mailing list and marketed to on a regular basis. His company has grown exponentially. And literally, he was able to shift his business. And so that's the importance of what it was Jeff Lipton from the Babalu Cigar Company that made those custom cigars for John.
Really cool. And then to that point, I think certainly now more than ever, it's so important. I'm actually here because of Charles Higgins. So
Charles, good.
Yeah, I'm a mild stalker of Charles Higgins because he's so helpful and smart. And I just want a person talking about how he's doing things and the way I follow people who are successful on purpose, right? Because just like you said, time is of the essence. And the thing that I see over and over again with people that are leading, the salient point is that y'all add value. Charles adds value. John Benson adds value. I add value. If you do that, you'll have more business and you know what to do. And that's really what it is. And just people don't want to take that. They just want there's the flash in the pan marketers. They come and go, they crash and burn. And I just don't follow any of that noise. So I don't know I don't know.
So much wise stuff from you today. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the feedback. You're in the right place. If you're listening to us, then you're going to know when firm date, because we're still building things. And frankly, we were hoping it was 2 weeks ago, but how things go the first time we're doing things. We got 2 different companies merging together and figuring each other out. So
I'm ready.
A little bit of time.
I'm ready, Steve.
You're in the right place. Do you have your own agency?
I have been a solopreneur. I had an agency back in 2015 with a partner. We worked on it for 2.5 years, and I kind of had that feeling of burnt out. And then I was like, I never want to do this again. And then just being sparked with so many of the things, it just kind of came to me. I had heard about, GHL. I was like, this is interesting. So I jumped into a group. I, connected with Charles in there, and he opened my eyes. He's like, listen, this is how you should do it. Keep it easy, keep it simple. And it's just really, really smart. So I'm in the midst of reinventing myself because I've been doing copywriting and coaching. And so that's really great, but I kind of want more scale in my life.
Okay, great. Is this you I'm looking at on LinkedIn in Chicago?
Yes.
I grew up in Chicago. Where are you?
I grew up in the city, and then we live right now in Arlington Heights.
My last house was in Arlington Heights in Chicago.
Okay.
And my last house in Arlington Heights, we moved to Texas in 2002, and I grew up in Northbrook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think I saw a little presentation of you that you went to the same high school as Ferris Bueller. I thought that was cool. That was a cool little.
Yeah. When people ask me, tell me something that you don't know about. And I see one more thing, and then if anybody else has a question here, but I see that you're connected to Will Berger on LinkedIn. Do you know Will Berger?
Not personally.
All right, so years ago in 2015, Will Berger had a company called Lead Outcome. It was a marketing. Does that ring a bell to you? Okay. Because anyways, he asked me to help him. He was before his time, and we were trying to do some of the site, but he didn't have the resources, and maybe the technology wasn't there. The bottom line is we've been trying to do this for a long time. What GHL is doing today, finally, the technology has come. Same thing.
I'm sure we've crossed paths. We know a lot of the same people. That's why I figured. I was like, oh gosh, I'm surprised I hadn't, come up with you sooner. So it's a pleasure.
So I just sent you in case you had taken that one down.
Well, I may or may not accept, Steve. I'm going to let you kind of wait a little bit. Thank you.
Don't sound too anxious, right? But
thank you.
I would love to hear more about you, Patty, and what you're trying to achieve. Thank you so much. Okay, Charles, I haven't met you. Come on, so they're saying such nice things about you. Nice to meet you, Charles. Tell me about yourself.
I'm just a measly little agency owner. That's all.
Oh, that's all. You're like one of the most important people in the world to me. Where are you based out of?
Tennessee. I'm about an hour south of Nashville.
Okay,
so
beautiful.
We sell unconventionally because
of my background. Tell me more about that. I love that. Tell me more about that.
So I sell features and software. I sell straight up SaaS. But I tell everybody, look, it is not the easiest path. It's the easiest for me because of my background, because that's what I did every day for 25 years in automotive was compare technologies and implement technologies into dealerships and from the manufacturer level all the way down to some of the largest auto groups. So it's easy for me to stand toe-to-toe in a feature and benefit comparison to HubSpot and Zoho and Salesforce, and because I know them very well and I know a lot of people at those companies. So it's not the easiest path. You have to have the background knowledge to be able to really forge that path straight up like I do. But it works for me. And that's what I tell everybody. You have to find what works for you, vice versa. So
I do think it's good advice. And obviously, Lakshay, you're hearing so much for him and he's got the background. Tell me about your ideal customer, Charles.
That we don't really niche down and except to say that we work with entrepreneurs, small businesses, and currently real estate agents. Monthly price, $297, $29.70 for the year. And you pick your business type based on that. And then we preload your system, do all the... We're Extendly all the way. Pre-build your system, live one-on-one onboarding, 24/7. We've got a training academy for our users to learn more and be self-sufficient. But we can approach it that way because we are just selling software. We're not selling services. So there's no, we bring in support. But we make that abundantly clear.
Good for you.
And so, yeah, it's
Good for you.
It's a different way. But
No, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So for 297, you're opening the beginning based upon where they're at?
Yeah. So the entrepreneur is the quick start. We use the quick start snapshot channels, calendar reminders, check-in, a checkout, learn some best practices from the workflows that are already in there through the academy, and then build on top of it. And then we have for real estate agents, the real estate agent program. We're going to be releasing more snapshots, or more business types, should I say.
Beautiful. I've got a big vision, and you've built your business along you're building to serve as many people as you can. That's a beautiful thing about High Level is, this is the licensing. My first client that I ever built a custom follow-up system for, and they wrote me a check for, I think it was $35,000 just to get started. All right. And that was 12 years ago. 12 years ago, you needed a budget like that to do that. Okay. Now, I always knew this is in thousands of businesses that need this. And today, when we look at some of the funnels, even the snapshots that we're providing, they're probably more robust than what I built for that for $297 a month, an incredible value. And the business will never unplug because they're going to make that money back time and time again. And the most important thing about it, not only they're going to make that money back because of the conversation manager, because they're engaged with their customers, because they can tag and segment and track everything that they do. They know it. For years in genre, right? For years and years and years, businesses, they would never stop advertising in the yellow pages until the yellow pages absolutely became obsolete, okay? But they would never do it. You know why? They were afraid somebody would miss them. They were afraid that they would miss a sale. They were afraid that their customers would think they went out of business if they weren't in the yellow pages. So they just pay it to shut off. Well, think if somebody plugs into what Charles is doing here. How are they ever going to shut? My cigar client said the same thing to me. He can't shut off for me. If he could, he's shut off. They can't. So is he going to pay $297 a month? Yes, he actually pays a lot more. All right. So I love it.
I've told Patty and others, lead generation or blah, blah, blah. And it's through strategic partnerships.
Yes.
I work very closely with ad agencies, market to the point where I give them free accounts. I'm like, look, you just need to use Pinnacle because then I know I'm solving a problem for them. They can, better offer it as an affiliate under me. They sign them up as a direct SaaS client from me. They get an affiliate. So they're still earning revenue from this path, but it helps them offer their clients a more holistic package. They lower their churn rate, and it keeps me out of doing what I don't want to do. They do what they're good at. I do what I'm good at, and everybody wins. There's no loser in the equation. And at the end of the day, even if they churn the marketing or advertising agency, they're probably spending conservatively $3,000 to $5,000 a month versus $300.
Right.
They're still going to keep the 300. And if I partner with a web design company, the reason I really push that, hey, we can offer WordPress hosting, but I'd really like you to get used to using the builder because now I know if I have their contacts or because they're using the Yex and now their tracking number is absolutely everywhere and their websites are in the program that can't be transferred out. They're sticking. They're not going anywhere.
And you got the customers getting communication all the time. Brilliant. I love it. I've said in the past, and you're going to hear me say it a lot more. And Charles, I hope you'll join me in this because I'm on a mission. And I had this mission many years ago, and I see it so much more clearly right now. But I'll ask to businesses: is it possible for us to create $1 million of new revenue for a business?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Of course, it's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How many agencies?
Oh, gosh. I don't even know.
It's thousands. That's all I know. I mean, I know it's thousands, right? All right. I've always had this goal. And I don't know where it came from, $1 million of revenue for a business. All right. My goal is to do that for 10,000 businesses. Now, all I need is 1,000 businesses. The high level community alone far exceeds that many agencies. If I get 1,000 times a million, is $10 billion worth of value that we can bring to small businesses. And I would like everybody here. That's a mission I have. And I'm going to need that friend Brenda Trott. Hello, Brenda. Thanks for being here. You know, I hope you'll join us then. And Patty, you too, when you find your sea legs and what you're doing.
I got a quick question for Charles. Do you know what the average, I'm sure you do. Do you have the average size of your clients, the number of employees?
Yes. So employees 1 to 2. And then they usually attach VAs because again, I don't do stair-step pricing. So I had a client, they just put in a new user to their location today. I got the email and it was a VA. I encourage my, entrepreneurs and solopreneurs because that's really kind of to his point about the businesses and driving this revenue. That's why I stay priced to what could I sell probably just as much? Yeah, I would have to change up my marketing maybe just a little bit. But the reason I stick to $297 is because I've watched too many entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and startups absolutely fail because they didn't have access to the systems and processes they needed simply because of a monetary wall. And so I really push that non-stair-step approach. It's based on usage, not contact list, not users. Your contact list doesn't determine how much business you're doing. It pays no reflection of how much business you're doing. Communication generally does. And if I'm charging you an extra $10 because you went over $15 in allowance that I give you anyways, and you're still large, I have 2 large international franchises that are on the platform, but I really don't cater to them. It's really not what I want to focus on. I really focus 30. And typically you find that in the smaller companies, not the bigger companies. The bigger companies are used to paying Salesforce $5-10 grand a month and having absolutely everything done for 3 usually is about where I top out on employee count, not including VAs. So. Okay.
I remember in 1982, I'm an old guy. I remember back in 1982, we paid $280,000 just for the phone system.
Yep.
To hook everybody. Before we started doing downloads to our insurance company, similar to, it was way ahead of the time.
Yeah.
It was with Aetna for small businesses. I'm just going after 1 and 2 and 3.
Yep.
I have thousands of insurance agents that I know be, a real home run for them.
And that's what I did. I went back to automotive. When I first started, my first 10 clients were automotive sales professionals because I'd been in trust factor. I already had it. Because it came from the manufacturer and, so I already got my first 10 clients and decided very quickly that I didn't want to now. But I have a lot of insurance people and financial advisors because they can really, it's all about nurturing and staying in front of people long term, the finance and because there's residuals built in all that. Right. Sure. If you can't keep that person hooked in as a client, and, what are you doing in insurance or finance? And so this platform in the dust, but it's hugely beneficial. And as well as I do, and Steve probably realizes this as well, most CRM companies, they charge anywhere from, on the low end, $2,500, $30,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 just to come out for 2 to 3 days to do an install and training. You have to pay them, not only for the system, but then you got to pay them to come out or negotiate as part of your year or 5-year room and boredom. You got to fly them out. You got to pay for all this training. And hey, we're giving it away free.
Yeah. Many of them charge per user.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it really doing here because even in my agency and Flawless Follow-Up, and I offer 3 different programs and frankly, I charge a premium for them. I'm at $299 for the first level alone. In this, I get them in first with what I call a quick win or, get them some success, whether it's what is known as reactivation now, which I've been doing for a long time, back challenge to make this super easy for businesses. or, a missed call text back, or whatever some of the fast wins or review strategy might be. So they see that success, and then we get them to stair step up. But I will tell you that I spend more time answering the question, what's the difference between the pricing, okay, which features, and you heard me say, I don't want to be talking about features. So I do admire your strategy. And I think the fact that you're having success with it is a testament that, there's no one way to do this. And I cheer you on. I love the success you're having with it. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's I tell everybody it goes back to the KISS method. You just got to keep it simple. Well,
yeah, there's no doubt.
It's just we tend to overcomplicate and overthink and overanalyze all the time, and it kind of boils back to the first rule of success, which I know we've all heard, is show up.
Mm-hmm.
You got to show up. You got to pull the trigger. You got to show up, or you're never going to succeed. You can sit there planning and contemplating with yourself and negotiating with yourself all day long, but until you just pull the trigger and do it.
And the other thing is, you got to be very careful not to confuse the customer, because as soon as you start giving them 2 or 3 or 4 choices, you lost them.
Yep.
Perfect example. I told another outsource source that they're offering a bunch of stuff to agencies, but they approached me with an offer today, sent me a video, sent me all the documentation and everything. I was completely lost. I'm like, holy cow, this is way too much. Like, I don't even understand what the actual benefit is to me.
Yeah.
Because you've done they overcomplicated it so much that I'm like, I'm going to have to watch this video again and read all this again when I can just sit down and dedicate time to this. And it was, they thought it was a great way to phrase it and plan it all out and show all these features and benefits and yada. I'm like, holy cow, like, I just want to know how you're going to benefit me. How are you going to make me money at the end of the day?
Right.
Or save me money, one of the two. And that's here to do lead gen or advertising or marketing, but I am here to save you money, because one of the scariest parts for an entrepreneur or a startup is hiring their first employee. It's move they'll ever make in business, because if they're an ethical person, well, I'll put it that way, because now they have the life of someone else in their hands. Things go south, they may very well have to lay that person off very quickly. But if it goes well, then everything's scary. And I say, look, what if I could give you a longer runway for scale? Let me give you a longer runway because of automation and AI, so that you can generate more annual revenue where you have to hire that first full-time employee. They love it, their business, and I'm addressing one of their biggest scares. But it's the same concept.
An agency?
Yeah, well, I had an insurance agency. I ended up with 45. Okay, and it's insurance. But what happened is, I know about I made more money with less than, getting bigger, because every time based on your loss ratios, and those loss ratio or those contingencies went way up. I basically, just like a car sales, somebody about, because they get the holdbacks at the end of the year.
Right.
And it was very similar.
Yeah. With high level.
Well, I just started, and actually I signed up in October.
Want to learn Go High Level in a structured format? Check out the gohighlevel.com by Extendly. We guarantee to save you 6 months of wasted subscription costs for High Level. Just visit the gohighlevel.com.